My fiancé mocked my job in front of her friends. She smirked. Oh, he just works in a pathetic cubicle all day. They laughed, so I played along. This morning, she showed up at my office to apologize, only to find out I'd been promoted and moved across the country without her. Looking back, I should have walked away that night. The moment Mia threw me under the bus in front of her friends, I should have seen it for what it was. Not a slip of the tongue, not a joke that landed poorly, but a revelation, a mask slipping, the truth spilling out before she could catch it. She didn't respect me, not as a man, not as a partner, and definitely not as someone worth standing beside, but I didn't leave, not right away. Instead, I smiled. I laughed along. I let her believe she had one, that her words had rolled off me like water. I let her think I was weak, because people like Mia, they only learned the hard way, and I was about to teach her the most painful lesson of her life. The night started out fine. Mia had invited me to a dinner party at her friend Jessica's apartment. It was one of those upper-middle-class get-togethers where everyone tried to outshine each other who had the best career, the best stories, the best vacation plans. I never particularly liked these events, but I went because Mia wanted me there, or at least I thought she did. Everything was normal at first. Wine poured, laughter filled the air. Small talk bounced between couples about new job offers and promotions. Then, somewhere between the second bottle of wine and Jessica's long-winded story about her miserable trip to Dubai, someone turned to Mia and asked, "So, what does Michael do again?" I didn't even look up at first. I assumed she'd say what she always said, something vague but respectful. "Oh, he works in finance. Oh, he's in corporate." Something that, while not exactly glowing, at least acknowledged that I had built a solid career for myself. But that's not what she said. She smirked, swirled her wine, and let out a small, almost condescending laugh. "Oh, Michael. He just pushes papers in some tiny little cubicle all day." The room erupted into laughter. Jessica let out a dramatic, exaggerated gasp. "Wait, so he's like a corporate secretary?" Mia laughed harder. Basically. He sits there typing away on spreadsheets while the real power players make the big moves. I felt my stomach tighten. Not because of the words themselves, but because of the way she said them, the smugness in her tone. The way her friends fed off of it, as if my career, my hard work was a punchline. She was mocking me right to my face. And the worst part, she didn't even hesitate. It was instinctual, natural, as if deep down this was how she had always seen me. I could have called her out right then. I could have embarrassed her the way she embarrassed me, but I didn't. Instead, I forced a small chuckle, took a sip of my drink, and leaned back in my chair. "Yeah," I said, my voice calm, controlled. "Just a boring little cubicle job." Mia glanced at me then. Something flickering in her eyes was a victory. Satisfaction, a mix of both. Whatever it was, it made me sick. But I kept smiling because I already knew she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. And soon she'd realize it too. Mia's laughter from that night stayed with me. It wasn't just the insult, it was the way she said it. The way her voice dipped into that mocking tone, the way her lips curled when she called my career basic. It was like I wasn't a person to her, just a placeholder, a safe bet until something better came along, and that's when it hit me. Mia wasn't with me because she loved me. She was with me because I was convenient, stable, the kind of guy who would pay for nice dinners, plan responsible vacations, cover emergencies. A man she could rely on until she found an upgrade. So, I decided right then and there, I was leaving. Not loudly, not angrily, but in a way she'd never forget. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't argue. Instead, I did something that threw her off completely. I acted completely normal. If anything, I was even sweeter. I kissed her on the forehead before bed. I asked about her day. I cooked dinner. I even took her out to a fancy restaurant the following weekend because the last thing I wanted for her to see this coming. What Mia didn't know, what she had never bothered to ask, was that my job was about to change drastically. For the past 6 months, my company had been restructuring. There was a major internal shift happening, and I had been working closely with upper management. My so-called pathetic cubicle job was about to turn into a high-ranking corporate role with a massive salary increase. And the best part, the position was based across the country. I had known for weeks that I was the top candidate. My boss, Mr. Thompson, had all but told me, "Michael, it's yours if you want it." But instead of celebrating with Mia, I kept it myself, because I knew if she found out I was about to become the kind of man she always wanted to date. Successful, powerful, highly paid. She'd latch onto me even tighter. She'd start pretending to respect me again. She'd reel me back in, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So, I kept my mouth shut, and instead, I let her dig her own grave. Mia thought she was smart. She thought she could play me in the background while she lined up her next option. I noticed the shift a few weeks after the dinner party. She started texting more, but not to me. She started working late, but had no extra work to show for it. And then she started bringing up Liam. Liam was her new coworker. He was younger than me, worked in sales, and had a flashier, more exciting career. The first time she mentioned him, it was casual. Liam's so funny, you'd like him. The second time, Liam just bought a new car. It's insane, like full leather interior, top speed, everything. And the third time, you should take notes from Liam. He's got big ambitions. I nearly laughed. She thought she was subtly testing the waters, seeing how I'd react. She thought she had time to explore her options before deciding who to settle for. She had no idea that I had already made my decision. I was done, and in a few weeks she was going to wake up and realize I was already gone. The moment my promotion was official, I started putting things in motion. I didn't just pack my things and leave. That would have been too easy. Instead, I made sure Mia had no idea what was happening until it was too late. I quietly removed her from my finances. No more automatic transfers for rent or utilities. I canceled our shared subscriptions, Spotify gone, Netflix disconnected. I told my landlord I was terminating the lease, but I didn't tell Mia. I stopped bringing up future plans. No more next vacation talk. No more discussions about engagement photos. And most importantly, I started distancing myself emotionally. Not enough for her to get suspicious. Just enough for her to start feeling uneasy. I let her believe I was still the backup plan she could fall back on. That way, when I disappeared, it would hurt so much more. A week before I was set to leave, Mia was in full comfort mode. She had completely stopped hiding her behavior. I overheard her on the phone with Jessica, laughing about how Michael's sweet. But, let's be real, he's not going anywhere. She truly believed she had me locked down. She was still talking to Liam, but she hadn't fully jumped ship yet, because she thought I was her safety net. But what happens when you bet on the wrong horse? You lose. And Mia was about to lose everything. Mia woke up that morning without a single clue that her entire world had just collapsed. She stretched lazily, grabbed her phone, and started scrolling through social media. Another mindless routine. Another day of feeling secure in the cushioned life she thought she had. Somewhere in the back of her mind, she probably still believed she was juggling options. Keep Michael around a little longer, just in case. See where things with Liam went. If all else failed, she could always reel Michael back in. She had no idea she was already out of options. That today was the day everything came crashing down. The first sign. She wasn't going to realize it until she walked right into it. It started small. The first red flag was her Uber app. She tried to order a ride to work, but when she clicked confirm payment, the screen flashed. Payment declined, she frowned. That was strange. My card was still linked to the account, wasn't it? She tried again. Payment declined, a flicker of annoyance. Maybe it was just a glitch. She sighed and switched to her personal card instead. It went through, and just like that, the thought disappeared. Because Mia was the kind of person who never worried about small inconveniences, she assumed everything would always be taken care of. But this wasn't a small inconvenience. It was the first crack in the foundation, and soon the whole thing was going to collapse. Mia strolled into her office feeling completely normal. She wasn't stressed, she wasn't worried. She still believed her life was perfectly intact, and that was the beauty of it. She had no idea what was waiting for her. No idea that she was about to step into the most humiliating moment of her life. She decided right then that she'd do something bold. She was going to swing by my office. Not because she missed me, not because she felt guilty, but because she wanted to make sure I was still there, still waiting in the background, still an option. She probably planned to walk in, flash me a smile, maybe drop a casual, "Hey, I've been thinking about us," to keep me interested. She was expecting the same old Michael. But what she got instead was a total nightmare. When she arrived at the corporate building, she walked straight past the receptionist with the kind of entitled confidence that only comes from never facing consequences. She made her way to my department, but when she turned the corner, she stopped dead in her tracks. My desk was empty, not messy, not temporarily unoccupied, empty, cleared out, gone. and in my place, some new guy was sitting there typing away. Mia blinked. She felt something she hadn't felt in years. Panic. She glanced around looking for something. Anything that made sense. Then she spotted one of my old coworkers, Kevin. "Hey," she said, forcing a casual smile. "Where's Michael?" Kevin looked up, surprised to see her. "Oh, he's gone. Left last week." Mia's stomach twisted. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" Kevin shrugged. "He got promoted. Big role. Moved across the country. He's already in the new office by now." Mia froze. She felt the blood drain from her face. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. Michael gone just like that, without saying a word, without even telling her. "No, no, no, no." She forced a laugh, shaking her head. "Wait. No, that doesn't make sense. He would have told me." Kevin gave her a weird look. "I mean, he seemed pretty busy with the new job. Maybe he just didn't get a chance." That's when it hit her. He didn't tell her on purpose. Michael had known for weeks, and he had never said a word. He had let her sit there, thinking she still had control, thinking she could still play her little game. And now he was gone without her, without looking back, without giving her a single chance to stop him. Her heart started pounding. She needed to fix this. Now she needed to talk to him. So she pulled out her phone, opened our messages, and started typing. "Hey, I just stopped by your office. I had no idea you were moving. Can we talk?" She hit send. No response. She waited. Minutes passed. Nothing. Her stomach clenched. She tried calling straight to voicemail. That's when her hands started shaking, because for the first time in her life, she realized she had completely lost. Mia spent the next 2 hours spiraling. She tried texting me again. "Michael, please call me. I need to talk to you." Still nothing. That's when the rage kicked in. She tried convincing herself this was a misunderstanding, that I couldn't have actually left her behind, that I'd at least have the decency to explain myself. But then her phone buzzed. A single message from me. "Don't worry, Mia, I found a better opportunity. You understand, right?" Her breath hitched because she knew exactly what that was. I had just thrown her own words back in her face. And I hadn't just left her. I had erased her. She tried calling again. Voicemail. She sent another text. "Michael, please don't do this." But she already knew I was gone. And this time, I wasn't coming back. EHN had always been the type of woman who thought she could talk her way out of anything. She had spent her whole life coasting, getting by on charm, good looks, and an uncanny ability to convince people they needed her. She had never faced real consequences before. But that morning, when she read my final text, she realized something that made her stomach drop. This time, there was no fixing it. No smooth apology, no well-timed tears, no fake promises that could make me come back. She had gambled and she had lost everything. After I left, Mia spent the next few days spiraling. She started with anger. I could picture it. Her pacing her apartment, tossing her phone onto the couch, ranting to herself. She probably told herself I was being dramatic or childish, that I'd come to my senses. She convinced herself that if she just played her cards right, she could still regain control. She just had to get people on her side. So, she turned to her friends. But instead of support, she got a brutal wake-up call. Mia had always been the queen bee of her social circle. She was the one they envied, the one who had the stable guy, the planned-out future. But now she was just another girl who got left behind. She called Jessica first. "You will not believe what Michael just did." Jessica yawned into the phone. "What?" He finally left. Mia's breath hitched. "What?" Jessica sighed. "Come on, Mia. Everyone saw this coming, except you. You walked all over him for years. Guess he finally woke up." Mia froze. She tried to argue, tried to spin the story, but Jessica wasn't interested. Neither was Claire. When Mia called her next, she got an even colder response. "Mia, why are you acting surprised? You treated him like SH. He did what any smart man would do." Mia stared at her phone, shaking. For the first time, she wasn't the one controlling the narrative. Her friends weren't rushing to defend her. They were looking at her the way she had looked at so many other people before. Like she wasn't worth the effort. And that's when she realized something that made her stomach turn. Her social status. It had always been tied to me. She wasn't the girl with the amazing personality or the strong career. She was the girl who had a secure, high-earning fiancé. The moment I disappeared, she had nothing left to brag about. And one by one, people started distancing themselves because Mia wasn't fun when she wasn't on top. And now she was at the very bottom. By the end of the week, Mia had lost everything she thought she could rely on. Liam, the guy she had been flirting with, wasn't interested anymore. Now that she wasn't taken, and therefore more desirable, he moved on. Her friends stopped returning her texts. They had better things to do. She realized she had no career of her own to fall back on. She had spent years coasting on my stability, never bothering to think about her own future. She had never been alone before, and now she was terrified. So she did the only thing she had left. She tried to crawl back. It started with a text. "Hey, I miss you." I ignored it. A few hours later, another one. "Michael, please. I know I messed up. I was stupid. Can we just talk?" Left on read. Then the call came. I didn't answer. Then another, and another. By the time I checked my phone the next morning, she had called me 32 times. But I didn't care because I knew what she really missed. It wasn't me. It was the security I gave her, and that was gone forever. By the third day, the messages slowed down. Then finally, she sent one last text. "Michael, please. I don't need anything from you. I just need to hear your voice. Just once." I read it, paused for a moment, and then I deleted it. No response, no closure, just silence. Because Mia had spent years looking down on me, treating me like I was some backup plan, some safe little option. And now she was the one left behind. She was the one watching me move forward. And me, I was already gone.